Alright, what is going on, everybody? I just wanted to hop on here and make a quick video talking about mental health, particularly for young men, and particularly Gen Z young men, but really for everybody, just anybody who exists in this time period that we inhabit. Because I'm gonna be completely honest, I just finished crying my eyes out for 15 minutes straight, as I tend to do periodically, just because of things that I've experienced over the past couple of years, but also particularly recently. And it occurred to me that I never ever talk to anybody close to me about this stuff, until if I do talk about it, it's long after it's past and I'm not in an emotional place as much anymore. And I just wanted to get to the bottom of why. And I got to thinking about it and the reasons why that is, and just the state of the world. So, as everybody is kind of aware, we live in a very online, very technologically overrun society. I think people have just forgotten how to empathize genuinely, feel genuine compassion for people. And I think the difference between empathy and compassion is something that people don't really understand anymore. Empathy is one thing. Empathy is feeling the emotions of another person. But that means nothing if you don't have compassion to go along with it. Compassion is where you actually care for people. So you can feel the emotions of other people and still not give a shit. You need compassion to actually allow that feeling of empathy to affect you in any sort of way, to move you in any way. If you don't have compassion for other people, if you feel what they're feeling, it's just going to be annoying, maybe frustrating. It might piss you off. It might make you wonder, what right does this person have to feel this way? Or why do they have to feel this way? This is such an inconvenience, right? Or they should just be grinding, man. They should just be on their Sigma grind set, or whatever the fuck they're saying these days. And I think, I don't know exactly what's led to this, but I think the way this is I don't think we've lost empathy. I think more than anything, we've lost compassion for people. When I feel really shitty, when my mental health is in a bad place, which it oftentimes is, to be honest, I don't even speak to my partner about it because I feel like I just receive no compassion. I'm not even 100% sure I receive empathy, but I don't feel like I receive compassion. I just get this pull yourself up by your bootstraps, lecture. And it just has a way of minimizing my feelings. And I fully appreciate the message, right? If there's anybody that would appreciate the whole pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality, it's me. But there's a time and a place, and it's got to occur within a certain framing of compassion. If you love somebody and they're hurting, you don't start with telling them what they have to do better. If you want to communicate to them effectively and demonstrate the love that you have for that individual, you start with expressing to them how much it hurts you that they're hurting, because it's important to establish first and foremost that you care that they're hurting. But nobody does that anymore. I genuinely can't recall the last time somebody that wasn't my mother actually did that. Whenever I've expressed that I'm going through something, on the very, very rare occasions that I do. And if they do express something along those lines, it usually feels really forced and fake. And it usually comes from people I barely know. It just really sucks that we don't get that anymore. And I don't think it's purely a communication thing. I think most people just genuinely don't want to hear it anymore. They just feel that if you're in a bad place, it's well, suck it up. Work on it. Take a problem-focused approach to it. And it's yeah, I agree with that, but there is still Why are we throwing the baby out with the bathwater? We still need an emotion-focused approach as well, at least to begin with, to give ourselves the emotional stability to be able to productively work on the problem to begin with, you know what I'm saying? And I know that's a very feminine, or it's considered a very feminine approach to it, perhaps, but like, fuck, I haven't received that from a woman even for a long time, at least no one that's not my mother. Like, girls that I've dated haven't really given me that. It's always just been the same old shit, where they'll just give me these really fucking milquetoast obvious answers as if I hadn't considered the really obvious shit, and it just has a way of making me really angry and really upset that like I just get offered these really obvious solutions like, oh, have you tried sleeping better? Have you tried drinking more water? Have you tried, I don't know, walking 20 minutes a day? Like, no, somehow this whole time I just never thought of that. It's like, you know, of course I have. Fucking of course I have. Are you serious? It's like this, it seems like you're just trying to, it's like you're an NPC just spouting out these scripted lines, and it's like I can fucking predict them, and it's like, holy, like, I've read so many self-help books. I've read so many, like Atomic Habits as well. I read that one more than once, probably 2.5 times at least. And, you know, several other self-help books besides that one too, and those books actually have useful things to say, but like whenever I go to someone who I know for help, I just I'm almost never any better for it. I almost always come away from those interactions feeling worse than I went into them, and it just feels like nobody really cares, especially as a man, and especially as someone who, because of their, you know, experiences with opening up, does not tend to do so very often. It feels particularly punishing whenever I do open up on the rare occasion, and that's what I'm met with. And it's the most isolating fucking thing in the world. I'm in a relationship and I feel so fucking alone. I can't talk about fucking anything without just receiving such an upsetting response from it. I think a lot of people, men in particular, have to live like this as well, and I just find that so fucking sad. And I think when I was completing my degree in psychology, it's becoming a bigger thing where professionals are starting to realize that male mental health is something that has been quite understudied as well. And I think that's largely to do with men underreporting their mental health issues, and thus it's just assumed that because it's not reported as often that it's just not as much of an issue. But I'm telling you, man, I think there's a lot of shit that men in particular are dealing with that they'll just never talk about, because anytime they do, they're just fucking kicked in the guts. This isn't to say that like women aren't struggling. They definitely are. I've spoken to a lot of girls over the years, and most of them are struggling with some really profound issues, some things that are really, really tough. But they get to talk about that. They get to discuss it with people that they know, and they get to feel better from discussing it. And men just don't really have that. They just have to thug that shit out. They just have to press on, you know, bear the cross and fucking walk up the hill, you know what I mean? And there's something to be said for that as well. Maybe men to some extent need that more. Maybe we're wired to be callous to that sort of thing because we have to be the protector or whatever. But it's just not fair that we just never have that opportunity unless we speak to someone like professional, and even then there's an argument to be made that it's not going to be productive or helpful. But you know, the only time we can maybe receive help in that context of opening up to somebody is in a professional context. We have to pay people to be there for us in that way. Otherwise, it's just not, there's just no point. There is just no fucking point. Like, even my closest friend, who, he's the only person who I'd ever open up to in an emotional state, but he's just not equipped with like the right knowledge of how to communicate about these things, because he's in the same position I am, but he hasn't completed a degree in psychology. You know what I mean? And he also hasn't, like, you know, had some of the experiences that I have to form me into somebody that is, reasonably well equipped to talk about things, like with someone who is struggling. So even though I feel comfortable opening up to him, and I feel his compassion for me in his own way, he doesn't know how to talk about these things because he just hasn't had the opportunity to, because, well, probably he's just been kicked anytime he's been opening up as well. So it's just this self-feeding system that kind of keeps men down a bit. And it's why so many men just commit game over. People will be surprised. Like, they'll never see it coming because they never talk about it. Because anytime they do, it's just a kick in the fucking guts every time. And I'm getting a bit emotional about it because I felt so fucking alone for so long. And there's a lot of peace to be found in accepting the struggle and just pressing on, and accepting the pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality, and just, taking your licks and all that. There is a deep peace and a comfort to it, and you can just accept the pain as you feel it. There is a great deal to that, and there's a beauty and an art to that, and I appreciate the absolute hell out of all the men in our world, in our society, that are doing that on a day-to-day basis, and they don't mention the shit that they're carrying to anybody. I think that is just, I admire that so much. There are a lot of men worth admiring for that. But, it's one hell of a double-edged sword, man, I'll tell you. But I just wanted to come on here and open up a bit about that, because I don't really have anybody else I can talk about this stuff with, besides, a couple. I think I can think of 2 people. There's not really a long list of people for me to consider, but there is 2 people in my life, in my world, that I can talk to these things about. That's my best friend and my mum, and one just doesn't know how to communicate really about this sort of thing, which is fine. I love the guy. It's completely fine with me. I get it. But I don't want to worry my mum with this stuff, like, it's just not the right thing to do for me. That's the thing that keeps me from opening up to those 2 parties, those 2 channels that I do have available to me. So it's shell out the money for professional help, or it's suffer in silence. Those are the 2 realistic options. And I think I'd rather just keep doing the latter, honestly. I'd rather just save the money. I can read about it, I can study it myself and that sort of stuff. I will be fine. It's just really hard and isolating and lonely out here. But I hope you guys are doing well. If you guys are feeling some kind of way and you need someone to talk to, I'm not a trained professional by any means, but I'm always happy to talk, always happy to discuss, and just lend an ear. I'm happy to be there for anybody that needs it. And if you're out there and you're struggling in silence, just know that for whatever it's worth, I think you're a complete badass, and I'm really sorry that our world doesn't have the resources readily available to you to make that load easier for you to bear. Because I know it's fucking hard, and my life, as far as lives go, I've got it really good. So I know it's really it's borderline an impossibility to carry some of the stuff that, a lot of the people I know are just carrying around silently. So yeah, as a wise man once said, stay hard and let's keep grinding. Have a good night, guys. Bye.